Hello everyone. Sorry, hello everyone. Can we all hear me? Good evening. Good afternoon, rather. Hello, can we all hear me? All right, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining and welcome to class today. We are happy to have everyone in today's session. All right, thank you so much for being here. All right, we are officially welcome to week 3 of the JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program for Artificial Intelligence and Emerging Technologies. In today's class, just like we did last week, I think what we'll be doing firstly is that we'll be taking presentations first. We'll be doing introductions, introducing the mentors that we're expecting in today's class. We'll take presentations from the mentees. Then we'll take presentations from the mentors. Would have feedback from the mentors also alongside their presentation based off of the work you guys work, based off of what you guys worked on. And then we'll take questions and answers. Or okay, so yeah, I think that's what we'll just do. We'll quickly take sorry, rather we'll quickly take presentations from our mentors, and then we'll take presentations from mentees, and then questions and answers very quickly, right? We don't want to spend so much time in class, but so just to quickly move on, right? We'll be introducing our mentors, like I said earlier. And in today's class, we're expecting two mentors in today's class. We already have Mr. Ridwan in class. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. We're happy to have you in today. We've already read his we've already read his profile, so please kindly do well to follow up with Mr. Ridwan. And secondly, our second mentor for today that we expect to be in class, as we are waiting for her to join, is Miss Buki, Barrister Buki Ogosakin. Right. In today's class, we'll be discussing AI in decentralized finance, AI in augmented reality, and virtual reality. Right. So that will be our topic for today. So not to waste any further time, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Ridwan for the next 20 minutes for his introduction into the topic for today. Mr. Ridwan, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Dennis. It's been a while. I had a voice. Yeah, it's been a while. I think I need to apologize first that I've actually not been able to make any of the initial sessions. I apologize to the organizers and to the participants as well. I think I'm the one that's have really lose a lot for not coming to the sessions and listening to presentations from the brilliant and participants, and of course to discuss my own perspective of things, and then see how we kind of rub minds together, and probably extend the discussions, extend some topics, and I would see it, and then I believe, I mean, I would have really gained a lot if I've been part of this, from the beginning. But I don't think it's too late. And I think today's topic is quite interesting. And I mean, specifically, we're going to be looking at AR, or VR, and DeFi, right? And sorry, um, I I had the opportunity to go through the other presentations as well, and that's also gave me an insight into where I need to start from, the things that we need to discuss. And apologies that I mean, I've been quite overwhelmed as well. So apologies that I couldn't work on a presentation to on my slides to present to you and discuss from. So what I want to do um, is just go through some certain points that I think we need to further, avert our mind to. So as I said, I've looked at the presentation and I don't want to blabber. I don't want to overbeat some overemphasize some of the points that you've already made. And the interesting thing that I could see from those presentation, those slides, is the understanding of the technology to an average, extent. Um, and I think that's quite important. That's where I always take it from. Even as law students and lawyers, I always advocate that you understand the tech, not like I do. I don't know and how many people knows me here, but I always have this discussion because the way I take technology is kind of another interest, outside law as well. I'm a tech lawyer. I think you've seen the introduction already, but then I'm also deeply into tech to a large extent. We're discussing DeFi today, and I think I've tried in the past to build blockchain based technologies or blockchain based solutions like using smart contracts, coding, things like that. And it's just my own interest. So but for a lawyer, the basic thing would be for you to not to code. That's why I said not like me. The basic thing would be to for you to understand the technology, how it works, and then how it affects the current legal frameworks that relates to that technology and how we can. So there are two ways I always talk about this. Just to before I go ahead with what I was saying, not always. I mean, there are various ways you can actually look at it, various perspectives you could, as law students and lawyers in the space. Those two ways are kind of policy making. That's how to develop legislations generally, how to build a strong and effective legal framework to manage these, not to stifle innovation. I don't believe that regulation, if done well, stifle innovation. Like many advocates that say that the opposite, that it's actually stifled innovation, would come to see the reality when we seen the great harm. I mean, the great harm already, harms already that we're seeing in terms of the deployment or the use of AI, from deepfakes to even Gen AI, and those harms could actually lead to death. I mean, we've seen those instances already, and they could lead to many other negative outcomes. But we get there soon. So we look at policy making. That's quite important, and I think that's even where we have most people working on presently. So even outside the fact that we have some I always talk about when we're talking about AI or AI governance, like regulating AI generally. I always talk about the three great, AI governance frameworks that I like. One of them is a major, legal framework. That is the EU AI Act, and the two other frameworks that are not essentially or not necessarily legal. The NIST AI RMF, that's the National Institute for Standards and Technology in the US, their artificial intelligence risk management framework, and the ISO 42001. So if you should be familiar, if you're familiar with risk assessment, cybersecurity a bit, you should be familiar with ISO 27001. So the management system standard for AI released, I think, 2023 is the ISO 42001. They call it AIMS, AI management systems. So just like we have standards for systems to ensure that you've built information security controls into those systems. We have that's ISO 42001 to ensure that you've also effectively assessed the risks that might affect AI systems, and then you're kind of trying to manage or secure those AI systems from those risks. So these three things are mainly, so they work in two ways. So I've been talking about policy making, legislation, how to, and it's not just about you coming up with laws alone. we have different ways of when we talk about policymaking. There are different ways of ensuring that you're managing these systems or technologies, effectively. So it could be guidelines, before you have the law. So it could be you looking at different areas, from intellectual property to product liability to consumer protection to, mergers and acquisitions, a lot of different areas, and see how AI is affecting those different spaces, and how you can, build or develop, evolve legal frameworks around those spaces. And so that's why there's a lot of opportunities out there now, in terms of we have a lot of non-profit organizations that are um, that's calling for, people to participate in building these things, especially and thankfully we're having a lot of that play out in Africa as well. So um so that's policy making. Then the other one is, if you are like I actually bring these two things together. I mean, I work in those two areas. The other thing is actually when you are you're kind of playing actively in the space as a tech lawyer, first of all, or an AI counsel, AI lawyer, or an AI governance professional, as a lawyer as well. So trying to help, companies, working with companies, private bodies now, to build um responsible AI products, right? So, and that is through the use of these processes, standards, legal frameworks that I've mentioned as well. And we're seeing different laws coming up, different regulations coming up now. And I still spoke about how we came about the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation in the EU, and how it's the kind of ripple effects around the world. So the same thing might actually happen for the EU AI Act as well. So we need to. So that's one way of, bringing all these things together. The reason I'm starting with these and not just going straight into imagine, talking about the actual topic for today, AI and emerging technologies, because we need to make a great and relevant connection, between that development with what we're talking about today. So if we're talking about, how I believe that's what the topic is about. That, but if there are other dimensions, please um bring my attention to that, so that I can address that as well. But what I'm saying essentially is that when we're talking about how AI affects, AR, virtual reality, augmented reality, and DeFi, decentralized finance, we need to look at, you know the different areas. I mean, we have methodologies of, of looking at these, of how AI affects, different areas. So the same thing with when we're looking at AR, VR, and DeFi, we need to we might adopt those methodologies, or we come up with different methodologies to effectively assess the issues, because that's my own major thing. Like, you as lawyers, what you really want to do is to know, to kind of assess. Of course, you might say that you're not a risk management experts. I mean, we have you're not a GRC expert and things like that. But of course, one of your major work is to assess the legal implication of some things. And the thing is that we know that law always play, catch up with, technologies. And that's the reason I mentioned all those standards. If we don't have, there are two ways regarding how law affects these technologies. Number one is that we have the traditional legal framework, the existing, extant laws, and they still affect these technologies in the way. They're still going to be. We still have to find a way. I mean, if it's in the court, if it is the enforcement agency, trying to enforce laws, there will still be a way. As far as there's a crime, there's an offense, there will still be a way of applying, present applicable, provisions to those issues. Okay, but the what we'll all agree to is that it's not efficient, because um I mean, the process or even the outcome might not be the best. So we need to kind of, come up with new laws that balances that risks. And it's not only the outcome we're looking at. That's what lawyers need to also really need to um, increasingly put their mind to. We're not only looking at the outcome, that's what has happened, and then how do we address what has happened, but we also need to take the issue from, like say, we need to nip it in from the bud. I don't know if that's how they say it, but we need to look at it from the beginning as well, in terms of how do we prevent this. And that is what legislation is all about as well, most times. That is why we have required or requisite obligations for different industry players. If you look at the EU AI Act, you have different obligations um for AI, what's it called? AI providers, the people that provide or build, AI technologies, or the people that deploy it, the people that use it, and what have you. So we have four different industry players that's we actually kind of categorized under the EU AI Act. So what I'm saying essentially is that you have those requirements, those obligations for the industry players to ensure that they don't go um beyond certain things, or they ensure that they preventing certain issues from coming up. So the same thing as the EU, the NIST AIRMF, which talks about different characteristics, and that is where that's the for me, it's the main framework that brings ethical. We would have heard about ethical AI, responsible AI. We've heard about principles of ethical and responsible AI, and that's particular frameworks really talks about all of those major characteristics, all of those principles, and kind of integrate it into how you can actually build it into these products. And another reason why it is, AI is different, the regulation and management of AI is different, is because uh, the way we are also approaching it, the way the industry is approaching it, building, responsible AI into AI products, is that you're building from the ground up. You have to They now understand that you have to consider, responsible AI, these ethical AI principles from the ground up when you start building it. I mean, we have something called software development lifecycle. When you start ideating, when you start thinking about, you know, the idea of building an AI product, that is when you need to start thinking about how you're going to make it responsible, how you're going to make it, safe for use, depending on the different landscape it is going to be used. So essentially, of course, we have this already when we're talking about privacy by design. We've always, I mean, for data protection people, we've always been advocating for thinking or building privacy principles into products from the ground up. So if you're familiar with data protection, privacy by design, privacy engineering, it will be easy for you to do. You guess I just want to mention that it's not something that is quite new, but I think it's now more important with the advancements of AI. So coming back to what we're talking about, I see what you've written. I mean, and it's great. So what I would advise, of course, you would all hear the different the two groups present. So I know one group worked on DeFi, the other one worked on AR and VR, and all of those. I mean, I love the fact that you went in depth and break these things down. Coming from the AR and VR, I saw the different issues in terms of how generative AI, creates new content, and how new contents, for AR and VR as well, and how that's the ethical and legal issues there to consider. And you went on to talk about the intellectual property as well, and all sorts of things. So I think one way you can, from the aspect that I've spoken about this, you can further see how you can now make it specific to policy making. So how can you create a policy drafts, a policy document, from what you've created, okay, and probably present it to is it NITDA or whichever regulatory agencies that can then work on something like they need to, that might kind of consider the contents, the issues that you've brought up, and the solutions that you've also presented. That's a way of going around it. And you can also look at different frameworks and how they, because we have, that's another interesting thing about legal frameworks or governance frameworks generally. We might have specific ones that talks about these things specifically. I've seen a lot of frameworks that addresses intellectual property issues when it comes to AI. So I think you can come up with guidelines as well for industry participants when they are building, products. These are the issues that you've kind of come up with, and these are the solutions that you've also those solutions you might. It's even possible that you might not. You just identify those issues and you don't have the full solution yet, but at least you have them kind of documented, so to say, and it's going to be something that they need to probably brainstorm, research, do a lot of work on to get to the bottom of the issue and get a solution, so to say. Um, but then going to DeFi, there was something I just wanted to mention. Maybe when you're going through through the presentation, I could ask some bit of question or make some clarification. I don't know if my good colleague, senior colleague, Buki, will be joining. So, or if she's there already. But if not, I hope I can still stay for a lot till when you're done with the presentation. But then I will just crave my lunges when you're presenting, and then probably I pick up some things, or I want to clarify some of the things that you're presenting on, because just like I said from the beginning, what I appreciate about the presentation is the fact that you wrote in a way that you understand the technology, and then you now the technology AI, AR, VR, and DeFi, and then you're now kind of applying legal. You kind of brainstorming about the legal effects, and then you are, kind of highlighting the issues, and then the solutions that might also be affected. So I'll be stopping in a moment. But something I remember about DeFi, that I saw, something that's piqued my interest was, I think there was a statement that maybe one of the reasons why blockchain is vulnerable is because it is decentralized and not centralized. When you're talking about some of the issues that might affect blockchain, but that's not necessarily accurate, because that could actually be one of the reasons it is secured. We have the reasons why DeFi might be vulnerable, but definitely it's not because it is decentralized. I would say it's because of the infrastructure kind of it's an infrastructure itself in and of itself, but I'll say it's kind of the solution that has been built on it, and especially in terms of the smart contracts. So smart contracts is the blockchain kind of powers the smart contract, right? But it's not the blockchain. So the blockchain itself is, highly secured, in terms of how it is, also called, how it is structured. The infrastructure itself, in terms of the cryptography, the implementation, and of course the decentralization also makes it very secured. But of course, when I have access to, let's just say you have you have your wallet, and then you lose your keys. So we have the first this thing I used was, then when we were building smart contracts, was MetaMask. See, MetaMask is a kind of solution provider that's provides the management of your wallets or your keys. And so if you lose your keys or you lose access to your MetaMask, somebody gain access to it. MetaMask, I would say, is like a company that is, kind of managing, the your access to the keys. So when somebody gets access to MetaMask, they're not getting access to. They might get access to your your currency, or your whatever your digital asset is stored on the blockchain, right? But you can only get access to it through the MetaMask. So there's an intermediary. So it's that intermediary that's the vulnerability. You understand? So it's still human development. You get, so it's not mainly the blockchain, so to say. It could be a bit tricky, but the blockchain is kind of, it's to a large extent, it's very difficult to be what's it called? Um, to be, kind of unauthorizedly accessed. But of course, when you have, it's just like you having your laptop and then losing it, something like that. So if they don't have your password, they might not be able to access it. Or I'll just leave it there. But I hope you get my point that it's because of the intermediary between the blockchain and then the cyber attacker that actually makes the access the accessibility to the blockchain to be kind of vulnerable or exposed. Um, so I just wanted to make that clarity because I saw it in the DeFi presentation. So I think I've used my 20 minutes already. But then I hope the present. How many minutes do we have each for the presentations so that I will know how to manage my my interruptions, so to say.
Oh, all right. So, sir, we have Miss Buki on call. We'll be taking
Oh, great.
presentations from her,
Oh, great.
and after she's done, then we take presentations for the mentees.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'll wait for Mrs. Buki's presentation, and it's likely that I might be leaving after our presentation because I will be going for prayers. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ridwan. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the topic for today. So we would like to also give room to Ms. Buki to share her own thoughts on today's topic based off of what she has prepared for us. And after that, we'll be taking presentations from both groups. So please, for the group presenters, you can kindly get ready right ahead of after Ms. Buki is done. We'll quickly take your presentations for 10 minutes and then we'll get back to our mentors for their feedback. Mr. Ridwan has already given some feedback to your presentation, so we'll be taking feedback from Ms. Buki, and then we'll take questions and call it a day. So, Ms. Buki, over to you, ma.
So I also want to ask for a bit of indulgence. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. I'm actually in another session right now. I'm trying to round it up. So I'll go after the presenters have made their presentation. Ridwan, it's great to have you here today. I really
Always good
enjoyed
to hear from
your
you.
contributions. Yes. So
Yes,
maybe
thank you
as
so much.
it goes on, then I don't have a presentation today, but I'll just comment and then give my little notes that I had written down that I wanted to share afterwards. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. We really do appreciate. So what we'll be doing right now is that we'll be taking presentations from both groups. Ms. Buki will be listening on the other end, right, as well as Mr. Ridwan. So once the presentations are over, if Mr. Ridwan is still on call, we'll call him up to kindly quickly give some perspective to some of the things you have said, including, and then we'll call up Ms. Buki. So not to waste our time, please, group one presenter, let's try to start our presentation. You have 10 minutes for your presentation. Let's try to stick to time so that we do not overshoot our time in today's class. Right. So who is a group presenter for group one? Do we have the presenter for group one in class?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm in class, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pola. Please, you can go ahead, share your slides, start your presentation.
Sir, could you please assist me with the sharing on the screen, sir?
Okay, you will just give me a little time. I'll just drop your presentation right now.
No problem, sir. Should I start or I should wait on you,
Yes,
sir?
just go ahead and start. I'll try to draw it up right.
All right, thank you, sir.
That's for group one, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Folaomi DDG, and I'll be taking presentation for Group 1 for the third week. The topic for us is the AI in decentralized finance and AI in augmented and virtual reality. So the areas we'll be touching today in the course of this presentation is the fundamentals of decentralized finance, the AI-driven trading algorithms and decentralized finance platforms, AI for risk management and fraud detection in decentralized finance, and the role of AI in optimizing liquidity pools and market predictions. So for the past few weeks that we've been doing this presentation, or we've been having this class. We've been discussing on decentralized finance, and all of us should have had. We've discussed one of the things we discussed about was decentralized finance. So one thing we discussed about is decentralized finance, and we've been we should have had one or two knowledge about it. It is a blockchain-based financial ecosystem that offers services without central intermediaries like bank, in the sense that it is like from definition as been said, a blockchain-based financial ecosystem that offers banks services without having to go through the traditional or conventional way of making use of bank, having to go to bank to borrow money or lend money. It's something that can be done once someone has an internet connection. I don't know if most of us should have heard that in Nigeria, the president of the country said that by January 2026, everybody has to have a tax identification number before you could, do some things using banks and so on and so forth, using your bank and everything. But for decentralized finance, once you have your internet connection, you could be able to perform financial services, be able to earn financial services, banking services, using the blockchain-based financial ecosystem without having to go through the traditional or conventional way of using banks and so on and so forth. And the three pillars of decentralized finance, we have blockchain, we have smart contracts, and we have decentralized applications. Blockchain is the secure, transparent, and immutable digital ledger. It is like it's like a record keeper. Let me just say it like that to make it very clear to us. Like a record keeper, where financial transactions that are being done are kept safe and everything. In a kind of string format to ensure that nobody tampers with it and nobody has anything to do with it that affects the way the stuff is being done or something like that. So like it's a digital system for recording information in a way that it is secure, transparent, and hard to alter without any tampering with it and so on and so forth. It is used in cryptocurrencies, smart contracts, supply chain tracking, secure digital voting, and so on and so forth. Then we also have the smart contract. This is a self-executing code that automates agreements in the sense that like once for centralized finance, people can like use smart contract to like work on their agreement or like process the agreement in the sense that this particular person is to give this particular person this stuff for this. So using the smart contract, it can be done where without any intermediary, without any trusted party, and it's going to help to allow this thing to be done effectively and conveniently without anybody feeling scammed or from being or a fraud happening or so on and so forth. Then we have decentralized applications. These are user-friendly interfaces like Uniswap, that allows us to interact with smart contracts. These are like the applications that allow smart contracts to like run on them. So moving on to the second agenda for under this particular topic, we have the artificial intelligence driven trading algorithms and centralized finance platforms. So these are computer programs that uses artificial intelligence to analyze data and execute trades autonomously. So they learn from historical and real-time data to identify patterns and opportunities, and they operate at high speed and volume, impossible for humans. So like this is artificial intelligence algorithms that that uses the they're like programs that use artificial intelligence to like execute how do I say it markets to execute transaction within the decentralized financial platforms and things like that. It can process vast amount of data and execute in milliseconds. The applications of the artificial intelligence driven trading, we have the high frequency trading, executing a large number of orders at very fast speed. We have profiting from small price differences of an asset across different markets, analyzing news and social media to gauge market mood. So like the human self cannot be able to like perform a whole lot of this is to like be too much on it. So the artificial intelligence driven trading helps like fast track this and make the work easier. Execute a large number of orders at very fast speed. Um, Profiting analyze the news and social media to gauge the market mood, to like know how the market stuff is going, to weigh the market structure and market system. So artificial intelligence for risk management and fraud detection in decentralized finance. The issue is no matter how the stuff is, there's always like the pros and cons of it. So like the way decentralized finance has transformed the financial landscape, offering borderless, permissionless, and transparent system. There is, however, there's disruptive innovation. This disruptive innovation also comes with significant challenges. There's risk management, there's fraud detection, where decentralized finance is a system where without having to go through the conventional system of bank, without people monitoring stuff and everything, there's like a financial ecosystem that runs on without a single party and so on and so forth. So like there's tendencies for the inability to manage the whole situation. There's tendency for people to like use this as a means of pulling market manipulation, hacks, cyber attacks, rug pulls, and so on and so forth. So artificial intelligence is emerging as a powerful tool to enhance the security, stability, and resilience of decentralized finance ecosystems. The risks in decentralized finance platforms face multiple layers of risks, including smart contract vulnerabilities, flash loan attacks, front running, and wash trading. Elliptic in 2023 said, and I quote, more than $3.8 billion was stolen from decentralized finance protocols in 2022 alone, highlighting the urgent need for effective risk management solutions. Traditional approaches such as manual audit and static code analysis are insufficient to keep pace with the speed and complexity of decentralized finance innovation. For the traditional system, the auditing is like a major way of like to ensure that things are not done in an irregular pattern. But then it cannot be used in decentralized finance because of the fact that it is like handling a whole lot of financial stuff in it without do it's a rapid stuff going with rapidly developing. So that particular stuff cannot be able to keep up with it. So there has to like be a more complex way to like ensure risk management and to ensure fraud detection. And that is where artificial intelligence comes to help. Artificial intelligence offers a dynamic approach to tackling these risks through automation, predictive modeling, and anomaly detection. I'll move to the next slide, sir. So fraud detection, machine learning algorithm can analyze transaction patterns to detect abnormal activities such as watch trades, pump and dump schemes, and illicit fund transactions in real time. By leveraging historical transaction data, AI can identify suspicious wallet behaviors before they escalate. So like the artificial intelligence can assist in fraud detection if properly patterned. Artificial intelligence can has its pros and has its cons too. So if properly patterned, it could also assist in this decentralized finance. It could assist in the risk management and fraud detection aspect of it. So it could help to like if properly patterned, could identify suspicious wallet behaviors. You could identify if some things are irregular. People that use bots to like try to do things in an illegal manner, trying to cut through corners and so on and so forth. Artificial intelligence, if patterned in the right means, given the right machine learning algorithm, could assist in this particular model. Then the risk scoring model, similar to credit scoring in the traditional finance, AI can be used to assign risk scores to wallets, protocols, or liquidity pools. This allows investors and platforms to evaluate counterparty risks more effectively. Market manipulation monitoring, AI can track unusual price fluctuating and arbitrage opportunities across exchange to prevent manipulation strategies like front running or sandwich attack. Also, the artificial intelligence could also use to detect loophole or high risk patterns in smart contracts that might be expected by hackers. It could also be used to like where hackers, the same way artificial intelligence is serving as a means of some people are also using it to like try to like they run some machine language to do this and so on. Artificial intelligence could also be used to detect for things and situations like that to also help balance and curtail this particular stuff. Challenges and limitation. Data quality. Blockchain data is vast but often unstructured, requiring sophisticated pre-processing. Adversarial attacks. Hackers may try to trick AI models. Okay, this is something I kind of mentioned earlier where I said people can also try to like use another machine language to try to like do something in this particular space. So hackers may try to trick AI models with fake transactions or obfuscation techniques, and it has to like which will making it very hard for the artificial intelligence to be able to like curtail with things like that. As much as it is helping, it's also there's some complex situations that the human self will be able to understand better. This pattern under his machine language, and the machine language is not seen to like see this particular aspect, might not be able to curtail that particular aspect too. Over-reliance on AI-driven monitoring may conflict with the ethos of full decentralization. Decentralization in the sense that we're talking about the fact that decentralization helps to remove how let's say it, a lot of control over the financial ecosystem. And by the time AI, artificial intelligence, is being put, by the time a lot of artificial intelligence monitoring is occurring, which is to manage risks and to detect fraud, it might negate the ethics of full decentralization. The future of artificial intelligence in decentralized finance. The future of artificial intelligence in decentralized finance, AI will likely become integral to decentralized finance evolution. With the rise of centralized autonomous organization, AI-powered governance tools can help manage risks democratically. Moreover, integration of AI with on-chain oracles could create adaptive, self-healing financial ecosystems capable of responding to threats in real time. So now, artificial intelligence and decentralized finance will this there's no how like the stuff is going to like split in real time. As decentralized finance is evolving and keeps on moving, the artificial intelligence too will be would also be there to help to manage risks, to help detect fraud, and to even help to like make the whole financial ecosystem very how will I say it, something prompt to like make use of in future times. So now the role of artificial intelligence in optimizing liquidity pools and market predictions. Artificial intelligence has become a major game changer in almost every sphere of human endeavor since inception. The cryptocurrency market is also not exempt from this rapid development in technology. On the key concept of liquidity pools are decentralized mechanisms. The key concept on this subtopic earlier mentioned, the role of artificial intelligence in optimizing liquidity pools and market predictions. So we have liquidity pools and then we have the market predictions. Liquidity pools are decentralized mechanism used by multiple participation in the crypto world, in which multiple cryptocurrency tokens are locked up in smart contracts to facilitate trading, lending, and other decentralized finance activities. Market predictions can be defined as a projection of likely developments in a specific market intended to guide business decision making. So like it is market prediction is like when for those that like stock, I think I have to use the stock exchange market as an example here, where people like a projection of likely developments in a specific market in the sense that where okay this particular ma- um stock group has been like they've been the ones scaling this and that, and they use it to like project what can happen later on in the stock market. Artificial intelligence in liquidity pool optimization. In the optimization of liquidity pools by leveraging machine learning algorithms and advanced data analytics, AI significantly enhances the speed and accuracy of forecasting, enabling the extraction of critical insights from vast data sets that will be challenging or impossible for human analysts to detect. This analytical capability supports more informed decision making, including the early prediction of and the identification of potential slippage events. Furthermore, AI facilitates the automation of liquidity transaction, strategically allocating assets between pools to maximize returns and minimize slippage, thereby ensuring I'm sorry for that, thereby ensuring optimal liquidity distribution. It integrates improves operational efficiency and contributes to a smoother trading experience through superior data processing. AI in market prediction. The artificial intelligence plays a transformative role also in the market prediction by enhancing the accuracy, speed, and adaptability of forecasting models. It is employed by companies and organizations to understand consumer behavior and identify emerging market trend. I think this still falls under the stock market example. So artificial intelligence plays a transformative role in market prediction where it enhances the accuracy, speed, and adaptability of forecasting models. It's companies now use it, organizations now use it to analyze large volume of historical data, that is previous data, to understand consumer behavior and identify emerging market trends. AI-driven trading, also referred to as algorithmic trading, thank you, utilizes computer algorithms to execute trades in financial markets with high precision and speed. These tools are designed to replicate certain aspects of human decision making, thereby improving the efficiency and accuracy of stock market transactions. In addition, AI-powered predictive models are used to forecast future market trends, thereby facilitating informed and strategic decision making. And that significant role of AI in market prediction lies in its capacity for advanced data mining. AI systems can examine vast data sets to identify relevant patterns, correlations, and trends that may not be readily apparent through conventional analysis. So, like using artificial intelligence in market prediction, it can allow some things that using a conventional system and allow you to actually know that, oh, this will happen, this will happen. The artificial intelligence can, fast track and then tend to like using the right machine learning algorithms can tend to like identify relevant patterns, put things together, the code through data and finally understand that okay, this would be a best possible way, which conventional analysis might not be able to actually. Studies and examples. Numerous liquidity pool platforms have become more attractive with use The application of machine learning within Chainlink's Oracle framework allowed for dynamic data-driven magnetic management of asset ratios within decentralized finance protocols, exemplified by Aves ETH stablecoin liquidity pools, which experienced a 15% increase in returns during high reinforcement learning agents by Keeper DAO to preemptively neutralize malicious arbitrage also successfully recaptured and distributed $7 million in extracted value to liquidity providers in the first quarter of 2024. Limitation, risks and challenges. While artificial intelligence offers remarkable advantage in enhancing liquidity pool management and refining market predictions, several challenges continue to hinder its full potential. One of the most pressing issues is the quality and accessibility of data. The decentralized finance ecosystem often grapple with fragmented or delayed data streams, which can significantly undermine the accuracy of AI models. In addition, the highly volatile and non-stationary nature of cryptocurrency markets presents a unique obstacle. AI systems trained on historical data may struggle to adapt to sudden market fluctuations or unexpected anomalies, limiting their responsiveness and reliability in real-time scenarios. There's also the risk of overfitting, where sophisticated models become too tailored to specific market conditions, reducing their ability to generalize across different assets or time frames. Another critical concern lies in the interpretability of AI models, especially those built on deep learning architectures. The opaque nature of these systems can make it difficult for stakeholders to understand or trust decisions being made, which poses a barrier to widespread adoption. Ethical and regulatory considerations further complicate the landscape. Issues related to fairness, potential market manipulation, and compliance demand robust governance framework to ensure that AI technologies are deployed responsibly and transparently. Finally, the computational intensity required to train and operate AI models for real-time financial forecasting can be prohibitive, particularly for smaller platforms and individual users for research and innovation aimed at improving the reliability, interpretability, and scalability of AI-driven financial tools. So, as much as the AI-driven financial as much as artificial intelligence could be of help in this particular liquidity pool management and redefining and market challenges, limitation, and risks. However, there is need to do more research and innovation aimed to improve the reliability, interpretability, and scalability of AI-driven financial tools, so that people can have people it can be made use of in future times to like make work easier and with the advancement of decentralized finance, cryptocurrency, and so on and so on and so forth. The conclusion, sorry, as DeFi, as decentralized finance continues to disrupt global finance, its sustainability depends on robust risk management and fraud detection mechanism. AI with the ability to learn, adapt, and predict offers a promising frontier. By combining centralized infrastructure with intelligent algorithms, decentralized finance ecosystem can evolve into a more secure and trustworthy financial alternative. And I mentioned earlier with the slide under the future of artificial intelligence with decentralized finance that if the artificial intelligence if artificial intelligence continue to rapidly develop with right development and right machine language alongside decentralized finance development too, that both first coming together will evolve to a more secure, will help decentralized finance and it will allow it to evolve into a more secure and trustworthy financial alternative. So that is all on my research, on my presentation, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Paula, for your presentation. Well done to you and to your team for putting it together. We really appreciate the efforts it took the team to put the presentation together. So well done once again. So please, we would like to have Group 2's presentation. If the group presenter for Group 2 is available, please, we are also ready for you. Quickly, as fast as possible, let's have your presentation. 10 minutes max so that we can move back to our mentors. Please, can we have the presenter for Group 2?
Hello, Dennis.
Okay, hello, Mr. Ridwan.
Yeah, I'd like to leave now because I have to go for prayers. But I'm thinking of just giving a couple of comments on the initial presentation. I think I have a couple of things or three in my mind. Can I go ahead to quickly share? It won't. Maybe I can take like 3 minutes.
Yes, we can.
So, yeah. So great. Thank you very much. So generally, interestingly, I had a conversation, a session panel on, fraud detection, like using AI powered, fraud detection tools. And I believe one of the major um issues I kind of brought up was I think in terms of the data sets and the AI model. And I think so I spoke about the risks generally earlier. I mean, in terms of okay, I'm not sure if I mentioned that ordinarily, of course, we're all excited about the benefits, the advancements that AI would bring. But then, um, I mean, I think we've all been seeing advocacy for considering as we considering the benefits, the opportunities, we should also be looking at the disadvantages, the harms, the risks that it could pose. So just like we have the huge benefits coming, we could also have huge repercussions. So we need to look at it on the same scale. You understand? Not like so just like you would see AI, I mean the integration of AI into a process, making that process to be very efficient, very fast. The same way you're going to see that the traditional risk would also be kind of heightened. So we really need to have that in mind. And plus, that might be the reason why when you're looking at the benefits, you also need to look at the risk at the same time, like and not just put all the risk at the bottom. So I know that's interestingly, I know that they also mentioned a lot of risks, but it's just like a bit they were kind of put together, so to say. So if you could also kind of explain those risks separately, you'd see that there's actually a lot of risks. So I was using the fraud detection tool as an example, and two things was data. I talked about two things: data sets and AI models. And ordinarily, I think you've already said that's one of the issues or one of the limitations to developing AI, especially with this side of the world. I mean, Africa generally is in terms of the resources. We are low, or we don't have lots of data, so to say. And of course, we're discussing on how to enrich the how to have enriched data set as well to be able to build AI models, and even the algorithms is the issues as well. But essentially what the point I'm trying to make is and that will also take me to one thing that most people don't talk about most times, and that is contracts, how to use contracts itself. That's agreements, because most of these things might sometimes be outsourced. You might have a fraud detection, provider, providing their AI powered fraud detection tool to you, and they have all these capabilities they might have had. So they are the one that's mostly would have just like I mentioned from the beginning, that you might have a provider and then a deployer. So you have the provider who builds the AI products, the AI system, and you have the deployer who is going to kind of deploy it onto their own system. So they have different obligations. So, and one of the things, if so, another limitation we have presently is that we don't have a comprehensive legal framework like the EU AI Act that will tell you that this is the obligation of the deployer and that's of the provider. And ordinarily you're actually supposed to even document this, like reduce it into writing. That will be the contracts, you highlighting or identifying or identifying the different obligations of each parties. So that's quite simple. And so you need to look at the agreements aspects of it as well. And when I'm talking about contract or agreements, it extends to the terms of services on their platform. It extends to the privacy policy and other documentation that they have on the website, so to say, or that they're providing that affects the provision of that services. So we need to come to that extent as well, looking at how to specify the responsibilities of both parties. So I came from talking about data sets, I mean the risk or the limitation we have. So and I think I went from talking about outsourced providers, and most of the providers could actually be foreign companies. And when you are integrating or you're deploying foreign AI solution into your environment, and you know that the data set that's the data set that the AI model was trained on is foreign data, right? So it could be transaction records, and the likes, banking records. the similar data in terms of the types of data it is, but when you look at the historical and the demographical data that was used to train the AI model, you see that it's different. So that would give you lots of issues in terms of, so you have to talk about bias, discrimination, um fairness, you get. And so we need to look at those issues as well, those risks that you using foreign tools might also pose on you applying it to local use cases. So all of these issues are things that's really need to break down and look deeper into. They're wider than we even speaking about it presently. So I just want to kind of bring your mind to all the other issues like that you need to consider as well. So I think I'll just leave it there. But I think another last thing would be human oversight. That is quite important as well, especially when you're talking about the application to the financial services industry generally. So there is we need to really think about how we're going to integrate human oversights into. So what are the so we need to come up with those things. There are lots of instances that we need to think about. So I think I'll just leave it there, not to take much of our time. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this session today. So thank you all, and apologies that I can't with beyond this. I think you're in great hands. I mean, Mukize will do great justice to, I think, to the rest of the conversation. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ridwan. We really,
Okay.
really appreciate your
Yeah,
time
my
and your
pleasure.
presence in this class.
Yeah,
We
sure.
really do appreciate your time and presence in today's class. Thank you so much. It's very, 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 very nice having you on this call. Thank you very much, sir, and bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
So,
Bye, Buki.
yes, sir. All right, so back to presentations we've had from Group 1, right? And Mr. Ridwan has given feedback to Group 1's presentation. Please, we also like to hear Group 2's presentation, and then we'll head over back to Ms. Buki, right? So please, if the presenter for Group 1 is available, let's quickly take your presentation, right? We are waiting for you, Group 2 presenter. Who's presenting on behalf of Group 2? Hello, do we have the presenter for groups in class? Please, we are waiting for you. Can we all hear me? Please, if you can hear me, please, I would like for us to respond. We do not want to waste any time, right? So please, the group presenter for group 2, if you're available, we want to hear your presentation. If the presenter is not available, anyone within the group can help make presentations on behalf of group 2. Hello, are we in class? Okay, so we don't have anyone to present on behalf of group 2. please let's try to make sure that presentation are a very core part of our classes, right? They are a core part of classes. They help guide and direct the nature in which we'll be learning, and also help also for the mentors to give feedbacks to what you have done, right? So please, can we have someone present on behalf of Group 2?
So I can present on behalf.
All right, Lua. All right, please, you can go ahead. Would you need me to help share your slides?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can't hear you. I wanted to ask if I can share the screen for her instead.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's up. You can go ahead and start. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm having issues with my I'm sorry, I'm having some issues with my PowerPoint, right? This pop-up is refusing to, it's not going. So please, can we have someone help share on her behalf? All right, thank you, Richard. Please, group presenter, you can kindly go ahead.
Okay. So our topic for today is role of AI in creating immersive experiences in augmented reality and virtual reality, known as AR and VR. Next slide, please. So today, the contents we'll be treating under our presentation. One, AI-driven content. Generation and real-time interaction in virtual environments. AI's role in personalizing AR and VR experiences. Ethical and psychological considerations in AI-powered AR/VR technologies. Intellectual property's role in AI and emerging technologies. Next slide. So, first, introduction, role of AI in creating immersive experiences in AR and VR. Artificial intelligence has revolutionized the creation of content in virtual environments by enabling dynamic and adaptive experiences. Instead of relying solely on pre-programmed scenarios, AI can generate 3D objects, characters, and entire virtual worlds on the go. For example, in VR gaming, most of us are used to this concept of virtual reality gaming, where most times we get to put on goggles and we get to see the the game that we're playing live as if we are a participant of the game. So, and that's one of the things that AI has done in the creation of content in virtual environments. It can be seen in VR gameplay, and this has taken it to another level. So AI can create new levels or challenges based on a player's action, ensuring that no two experiences are identical and keeping engagement high. This ability to produce content in real time allows developers to scale immersive experiences without manually designing every element. So because of the input of AI in VR, especially virtual reality gaming, most times the way you feel about a game, for example, if you're playing a game where you're ski diving or you're shooting, it's your own experience. Your experience will be different from the other person's experience, and that's what AI has done to revolutionize virtual reality, especially in VR gaming. Next topic. So AI-driven content generation and real-time interaction in virtual environments. Next slide. AI-generated content is any type of content such as text, image, video, or audio, which is created by artificial intelligence models. So this is like a general definition. Anything that we call AI generated content is anything that is created by artificial intelligence models. For example, when you give ChatGPT a prompt and you say, oh, chat, please help me create a timetable template for my study time. That content which chat generates, the timetable which chat generates, is an AI generated content. So these models are the result of algorithms trained on large data sets that enable them to produce new content that mimics the characteristics of training data. So there's one thing about AI. AI is as robust as the data that trains it. So the models or algorithms that are used to training these data, these AIs, are the ones that enable them to produce new content that mimics the characteristics of the training data. So ways AI makes things interactive. One, creation and manipulation. Generative AI is redefining the way virtual environments and objects are created, manipulated, and adapted. This category includes object generation, scene generation, dynamic content creation, and spatial mapping, each leveraging AI's ability to interpret natural language, detect spatial constraints, and provide user-centric output. So AI in virtual environments helps to create objects. For example, the example of the virtual reality game that I gave. For example, you are shooting someone, you are shooting demons, or you are shooting. That's what AI helps to do, to create objects, to create scenes that look as if they are real, but they are not really real. Next slide. 2, storytelling and narrative generation. Generative AI enables adaptive storytelling in immersive settings where user actions dynamically shape the narrative. This capability fosters greater engagement by transitioning from static prescripted stories to interactive player-driven narratives. So one of the way AI is interactive in virtual reality is storytelling and narrative generation. For example, if you're playing a virtual reality game that's kind of a simulation, maybe it's about a story or stuff like that, you get to see it happening in real life. But before, you had to be reading, oh, Simbi is going to school now. But with VR, you can see it happening directly in front of you. The next thing is social interaction and collaboration. Generative AI enriches social interaction and collaboration in VR by enabling multi-user experiences, creating anthropomorphic assistants, and adapting to dynamic social context. This innovation bridges the gap between the users and virtual environment, fostering intuitive, engaging, and cooperative interactions. So, for example, now, like I said earlier, the same example of games. Imagine if you are in a game and you are probably skydiving and you're falling. Someone that is scared of heights will be scared. The interaction the person has, the intuition the person has is fear. And someone that's probably enjoying it will be happy. So AI helps with social interaction and collaboration. Next slide. For simulation and training. Generative AI has transformed simulation and training by enabling realistic, adaptive, and context-aware virtual environments. These advancements cater to a diverse range of use cases, from preparing job candidates to training autonomous systems and guiding users through complex tasks. So AI has helped simulation and training. For example, if AI can be used to create a simulation that will prepare law bar finals or bar students that are about to write their bar finals, give them a simulation. You'll be in the class, you are seeing your paper, and it helps like prepare and stimulate you, and it will make the task that was usually hard and complex. Oh, you'd have to sit down, have to write, have to, make you see it beforehand, and you'll be able to prepare adequately. You see your lapses before the real exam. Personalization and adaptive systems. Personalization is essential for effective VR systems, and generative AI allows deep customization based on user behavior, preferences, and cognitive feedback. It enables dynamic difficulty adjustment systems that tailor challenges to user performance and psychological feedback. This approach enhances accessibility, particularly for diverse user groups, by aligning challenges with individual skill levels and mental states. For example, if AI was used for a virtual reality simulation for education, the way a fast learner will respond is different from the way someone with dyslexia will respond to the virtual simulation. And that's one thing AI helps to do. AI helps to create personalized um personalized systems for each individual, especially in such a way where it's diverse users that kind of use that kind of system. So AI allows there to be personalized system. The way I feel about something is definitely not the way someone else is going to react or feel about the thing. Next slide. Our next subtopic is AI's role in personalizing AR and VR experiences. Next slide. So AI plays a significant role in personalizing augmented reality and virtual reality experiences by analyzing user data, preferences, and behaviors to create tailored interactions. So, like I said earlier, AI helps to create personalized experiences because no two humans are the same. So, the way AI has already monitored that, okay, this is the way people with dyslexia react to so kind of setting, and this is the way a normal fast learner reacts to so kind of setting, and that helps to create personalized experiences, to create tailored interactions. It analyzes each user's data and preferences. So ways AI enhances AR/VR: one, personalization techniques. Adaptive learning paths. AI analyzes user interactions to adjust the difficulty level and content, ensuring an optimal learning experience. So, for example, now, if it's an education simulation, like the example I've been using, and maybe someone is supposed to solve a puzzle. It's a puzzle kind of system. A fast learner, the way a fast learner is going to react is going to take that puzzle will be different from the way someone with dyslexia will take it. And so AI will analyze that and use it to adjust the content to ensure that each of them are learning, and they are learning at their own pace. Two, real-time guidance and support. AI provides immediate feedback and assistance, accelerating the learning process and boosting confidence. Unlike when there was no AI and okay, someone with dyslexia is writing an exam. It's different from now. You can easily pick it up, and AI easily adapts. Immediately it sees that, oh, you can't easily get this question. AI easily adapts and changes the difficulty level. Next slide. Next slide. Customization and adaptability. AI tailors simulations to specific training needs, adapting to individual skill levels and learning speeds, which is something that I've been making an example of using the same dyslexia and fast learner. AI will tailor the training based on the individual skill level. Oh, this person learns fast. Oh, this person needs extra time to learn. So AI customizes it based on your skill level. So benefits of AI in augmented and virtual reality, of personalization of AI in augmented and virtual reality. One, enhanced realism. AI algorithms analyze and interpret 3D scenes in real time, generating lifelike interactions between users and digital environments. For example, now, we all know this hologram. They use it now to show maps. Before, you'd have to bring ancient maps that were drawn and that have been, and they might not be changes. The changes that are now may not reflect on those hardcover maps. But with the use of AI, you can see the maps. You can see, oh, this place has been developed, this place has been worked on, this place is hilly, this place is not hilly, and that like helps to generate lifelike interaction between users and digital environments. Improved accessibility. AI-powered AR and VR offer customized solutions for people with disabilities, such as sign language interpretation and virtual environments for those with limited mobility. For example, now, AI helps with those that are deaf and dumb. For example, you'd have to get someone that was skilled in sign language. Maybe a child that was deaf and dumb is enrolled in a normal school. You'd have to get someone that was skilled in sign language to have to be interpreting the notes, interpreting the notes and interpreting everything. But now, AI powered AR and VR make solution easy for people with disabilities. Next slide. So we have increased engagement. AI-driven personalization creates immersive experiences that cater to individual preferences, enhancing user satisfaction and effectiveness. So challenges and ethical consideration. One, data privacy concerns. AI systems collect and analyze extensive user data, raising concerns about consent, transparency, and potential misuse. So we all know that there are 7 principles. If you don't know, there are 7/8 principles needed when you want to process someone's data. So, and that's one of the problems when we have when AI intersects with data protection. So this, they might be concerned because AI will have to collect someone's data to be able to create a personalized experience, and that's one of the challenges and ethical consideration. Another one is bias and fairness. AI algorithms can introduce biases affecting the quality and inclusivity of AR and VR experiences. For example, now, like I said earlier, AI is just as robust as the algorithm that trains it. So imagine if the algorithm that is training it is based on a white person's experience. That's already a bias, and that's one of the ethical challenges of AI in VR. Next subtopic. Ethical and psychological consideration in AI-powered AR and VR technologies. Ethical and psychological considerations for AI-powered AR and VR include ensuring informed consent and data privacy due to extensive data collection, preventing manipulation through bias in algorithms and immersive content, addressing issues of accessibility and the potential exacerbation of societal inequalities, and mitigating psychological impact like cyber sickness, emotional attachment, and derealization. Let's even focus on this emotional attachment. Many of us, if not all of us, are already getting used to our ChatGPT or the various AIs that we communicate with severally. And this is one of the ethical and psychological considerations that we have to factor in when introducing AI in AR and VR. For example, now maybe there's a simulation that AI has helped create. Maybe someone that has PTSD, the AI, in the medical sector, maybe they use AI to create a simulation that will help calm the person down. And the person is already addicted to that. So without that, the person is emotionally attached to that. So without that, the person can't deal with PTSD. So these are one of the things that we have to consider when introducing AI-powered AR and VR. So ethical considerations. One, privacy and data security, which is something that I spoke about before. AI collects people's data, and we cannot really be able to manage, okay, if someone else gets in contact with the data that AI has collected, someone could misuse it for advertising and steal someone's identity. Next slide. Two, informed consent and privacy. People using must fully understand how their data is collected. So basically, before anybody uses any app, you must first click that, okay, you consent to what is going to happen. And you must also be fully informed, oh, they're going to take your data, they're going to use your data to create this and that. That's needed. Data security and bias, I spoke about this earlier. Accessibility and equity. Sometimes not everybody gets the chance to experience AI in AR and VR. Some people who don't have the money to afford it. For example, if, like I said earlier, AR was introduced in the educational sector, and the school will definitely want to make their profits. They'd have to make money. They'd have to ask them for money, and some people may not be able to afford that. Next slide. Psychological consideration. One, mental health impact. Immersive nature of these technologies can lead to addiction, mental exhaustion, and a blurring of lines between virtual and real world experiences. For example, someone that plays video games, virtual reality video games every day will definitely have issues, especially they may become addicted or they may be exhausted and may not really want to engage with the real world. Vulnerability and manipulation. VR can make users vulnerable, especially if you're using it for something like PTSD or in the education, and they are at risk of manipulation through personalized experiences. Emotional responses. It can generate emotionally persuasive experiences that may lead to deep emotional attachment. I spoke about this earlier. Next subtopic. Next slide. Subtopic 4. Intellectual property's role in AI and emerging technologies, which is our last subtopic. Next slide. Artificial intelligence has brought a significant paradigm shift across various aspects of society, particularly in content creation. AI-generated content represents a technological leap that is fundamentally altering how information is generated, distributed, and consumed. The advent of AI has already prompted such adjustments and will continue to do so. The protection of intellectual property rights is at the heart of the incentive structure that underlies innovative and creative activities. The deepening of digital economy and information society, the protection and the management of intellectual property has become increasingly prominent. So I don't know whether it was a few months ago, but there was a law that the US wanted to introduce, that AI will be able to have access to people's intellectual property, and they only have the option of opting out, of opting in, or was it opting in or opting out? Opting out. So, and that may be after someone has used someone's content. So there's the problem between AI and intellectual property, because how can we really guide that AI is not data scraping someone else's intellectual property to help you with your own research without referencing the person, which is very, very wrong. So next slide. The former IP system is mainly constructed on the basis of the original contribution of human creators, mainly covering copyright, patents, trademark, and protection measures related to original content. And its core lies in guaranteeing the exclusive rights of creators to intellectual and advanced achievements. So something I said. Why IP matters in AI and emerging technologies? One, it protects innovation. Intellectual property is important because it helps to protect someone's innovation. AI systems, algorithms, and data-driven models often involve significant R&D. IP rights encourage investment by protecting outcomes, balances openness versus exclusivity. AI thrives on collaboration and shared data sets, but companies also seek exclusivity to monetize their inventions. So there's AI thrives on helping others on like I said, an AI is only as good as the data that trained you. So if it has a lot of data sets, that AI will be good. But some companies seek exclusivity so that they can monetize their inventions. Next slide. Next slide. Am I muted?
You know the background quite much. Please go ahead.
Next slide. Shapes competition and ethics. The scope of IP protects how new technologies spread, who controls them, and whether markets stay competitive. Key IP categories in AI, patents. Next slide. Copyright, trade secrets, and we are all familiar with these IPs, if not. Last slide, please. Last slide. The last slide. Last slide. So policy and regulatory trends. We have the EU AI Act and Data Act, which is the most famous right now. Then there's the US Copyright Office, which reaffirm that AI only works lack protection through human AI collaboration may qualify. And there's WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. These are agencies this is also an agency that helps regulate AI. Conclusion: IP in AI is both a shield and a bottleneck. It protects investments and encourages innovation, but unresolved issues such as AI authorship, dataset rights, cross-border enforcement will heavily influence how emerging technologies evolve. I'm sorry for the background noise. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ore, for helping us present on behalf of your group. Well done to you for stepping in to take charge of the presentation. And thank you, Aisha, for helping out with sharing of the slides. Please, we want to encourage the mentees that, it is very, very important that we present in class. So, right, let's try our possible best to make sure that we're both available and we keep in touch with our other group members so that we do not miss out on presentation. So thank you to both Group 1 and Group 2 for making your presentation. Please, we will now be heading back to Mrs. Buki Ogusakin. Thank you very much, Ma, once again for your patience and your presence in today's class. We just want to quickly hear from you also, Ma. Share your thoughts on the topic for today and also anything you'd like to say on the presentations that were made. You're welcome back, Ma.
Thank you so much. Again, I always say well done to the mentees and then to the JIIPCC team as well for all the work behind the scenes. It's not easy to put these things together. I want to commend the team for the first presentation. It was quite an insightful presentation, very easy to follow, quite well structured. So I want to commend the team for doing a great job in breaking down the technical fundamentals of each aspect. And I think Ridwan also alluded to that as well. It's always very refreshing when you are able to take presentations and it shows that you understand what you are presenting about. So that's quite good. You covered smart contracts, and how they're self-executing code, which is correct. I would like to highlight also smart contracts and legal enforceability. And a lot of times it becomes complex on when errors are developed in smart contracts, who then takes liability? Is it the developer, the platform, the user, or no one in particular? So there are still quite some gray areas, when it comes to smart contracts, and that's enforceability of the contracts where issues arise. Then the decentralization aspect as well. You pointed out, AI potentially conflicting with the ethos of full decentralization, which is quite important. If I look at it from a legal perspective, these platforms often use decentralization as defense for liability, to say that, okay, nobody is liable because the platforms are decentralized, okay? So that is another aspect that we grapple with in the technical law space. So, it's very essential to consider, ignore any background noise, they are doing some work here. So you can argue, that just a piece of code might not be centralized. But if AI is controlling, for instance, liquidity in a DeFi platform, and it is the sole central unit that is guiding that decentralized platform, we see that centralization kind of creeps back in, because the whole idea of DeFi is that there is no one central unit or system that is taking charge of the entire platform. But when you have AI involved, it does bring back in some of that centralized control, where it's an AI system that is controlling, the DeFi platform. So there's a bit of conflict there as well. And this we need to consider, when we are looking at platforms, being susceptible to regulatory oversight. I just wanted to emphasize that for the group as well, so they can look at that. They also touched on data quality. There definitely data privacy concerns arise within AI, and I think you covered that very well. Regulators, like the NDPC, are doing a lot of work and have interest in AI and blockchain systems as well, because we know that a lot of data is collected and stored and used on such platforms, especially using AI. AI systems do a lot of scraping of data, a lot of gathering of data, and the like. And then you touched on market manipulation laws as well, using AI for arbitrage and high frequency trading, which is quite common. But we also need to consider that all these scams and things, manipulation that is going on, like front running and wash trading, which you mentioned, they are prohibited in several jurisdictions, and it's possible that AI, can have a role in getting these activities monitored and possibly penalized. So that's areas that we can look at as well. But all in all, it was a fantastic presentation. Well done to the team. I'll just go into the second presentation as well. The second presentation also quite exhaustive. I was almost like, in the age of AI, I think there's a lot of data around, so you are able to collate enough information in slides these days. So also quite comprehensive, also touched on a lot of aspects as well. I want to commend the team member that was able to, step in and do the presentation. That really is a trait that sets you apart in any industry that you're in. You must be able to easily step up when needed. And I want to commend her, for doing that. For the presentation itself, talking about XR, which is AR, VR, and MR. Legal liability is very important in AI-generated worlds. You identified AI-generated content being, the new frontier for IP. Talked about the key concept for me is liability when you're talking about AI-generated content as well. Just like I mentioned for the other team, liability is very important. We hopefully will see in the future the segregation of roles for responsibility when it comes to AI systems, like the AI developer, the AI user, the AI other stakeholders, maybe like the project owner, and all those kind of things, so that we are able to hold certain people liable for AI systems that are being created. Because it's still beginning days, we haven't really seen that segregation of roles. But hopefully in the future, as we go ahead, we'll see more of that, because we know that we always say that the law is trying to catch up, and technology is moving really fast. So for now, liability would fall on the company that is deploying the AI. That's in most circumstances right now, but we can see that change in the future. We don't know. And then you talked on data privacy. In fact, you covered a lot. Data privacy in AR and VR, that was really excellent. Recognize, one second, please. So apologies for the break in translation.
No problem, Ma.
Okay, so as I was saying, you looked at data privacy in AR and VR as well, which was quite excellent. The truth is that when it comes to AR, VR, and MR, there's a lot more kinds of data that are actually extracted. So when we're talking of biometrics, we're talking of gait, we're talking of environment. When you put a VR headset on, the data that is collecting is way more, than regular data that most humans are exposed to or that they give away. The movement of your iris or your eyes, it records all that, the retina, how everything is moving within your eyes. These are things that XR systems could collect. So data privacy, even in the AR and VR and MR environment, is even more evasive. So we will not see data privacy decline anytime soon. Instead, it will increase in the monitoring of what organizations are able to collect. And as we can see now, even if you try to log into your Gmail, in fact, this morning, I was trying to log into one of my Gmails and it was asking me, it was refusing me entry. It was asking me to link that account to other accounts. And I'm asking, why do I need to link this account with another account? So, these private organizations are collecting so much data. They are linking everything together. And at a point, I don't know what else. They almost want to collect your blood self at the process. They want to know your blood group and everything. So they're collecting so much data. They are linking accounts. Accounts now have phone numbers because they will say, so that you're not locked out of your account, you need to provide a phone number, you need to provide an email. They are linking. There was a time that I had my daughter's LinkedIn page, I think, had an issue. So we had to send in, and they asked for like a referral account. So they even link, and Facebook does that anyway. Facebook will link you with like your family, so they are creating like family trees, linking family members together. They know who is married to who, they know who is in a relationship with who, so there is a lot of data that is being collected. And it's quite evasive now, up to bank account details, your credit card details. Most people now are paying for, you are paying for something on your iOS, you're paying for something on your Android, you're paying for cloud, you're paying for email, you're paying for talk less of AI systems that you're using. So they're linking a lot of all this data together. They have these details. And so when you get into AR and VR, they are now even collecting bodily data, apart from your biometrics, like I said, your iris movement, your environment. It can see your environment. Most VR headset now can see the external environment. So when you are creating your boundary, it can see the environment. It knows where you are, obviously, with GPS. That's even old technology. It will ask for the light to be switched on and all of that so that it can be able to see how your environment looks. So it is collecting gate data. It knows your height, for instance. Who would wear a VR headset, for instance? I'm thinking of that the VR headset is recording height, and is recording heights of the different people that are using the VR headset. So it's collecting vast amounts of data, and in China now, even from, I was watching a documentary about their police headquarters. So the police headquarters, it shows all the data of all the citizens. They know where everybody is. They know, they have all the biometric information of almost everybody that is within China. They can see you even in the darkness. They can tell who you are simply by the gait, the way you walk. Your gait is the way you walk, because people have unique ways of walking. So they can tell voice. So it's all this data that is being collected is actually quite invasive. And so we have to recognize that AR, VR, MR takes it to another level of the amount of data, the quality of the data that is being collected and analyzed, by these systems. And AI will even be helping them further by even recording the data and analyzing that data even further. So it's quite important that we look at that. You also covered psychological effects of AR and VR. I personally don't really use my VR headset anymore, because if you are in that environment for too long, you can get headaches, you can get disoriented, so there's a lot of, like you said, mental exhaustion, blurriness of the eyes, and they're saying that at a point, well, according to researchers, that there might be a time when there'll be blurry lines between real and virtual world. So there's a lot of all these risks, the impact, the psychological impact as well, and this was covered. But that brings up the question of duty of care. Who owes the duty of care? If you're looking at it from a legal standpoint, the developers must be held to a certain level of duty of care for the devices that they're creating. And that's where we, from a legal standpoint, would come in to say, okay, what is the legal obligation, of someone who is creating a VR headset? So as Meta or whichever organization is creating these new headsets, even Microsoft, as developers, what is the level of the duty of care that they owe to users who are using buying these products and using these products? Are they, when it came to cigarette smoking, the legal obligation came up on the effects of smoking on the lungs and on the health of the person. So they then decided, okay, they would mandate, according to regulation, all manufacturers of tobacco products to place on the label that anybody who takes this product is liable to die young. Do you understand? Because it was established through research and, of course, through different court cases and the rest, that this product can actually lead to death. So then it became mandatory for them to place it on the product. So now for us and those who are in the legal space who are looking at the creation of VR headsets, AR headsets, and the like, are they going to be mandated to place on the product that anyone who uses this product is liable to psychological harm? Do you understand? So that, because the users need to be fully aware of the side effects of the products that they are using. You can't just bring products into the market and allow people to start using these products without letting them know the full effect of what they're getting into. So that duty of care from a legal standpoint is something that comes up, and it's something that I wanted to just highlight for us as something that needs to be done within the space, that legal obligation to protect users from these potential psychological harm for the products of developers must be brought to the forefront. And those safeguards that need to be implemented, need to be explored. Is there a specific time, for instance? Maybe researchers can come up and say, okay, usage time should be 2 hours a day or less for you to avoid psychological or mental impairedness, or using this device more than 6 hours a day, you'll be liable to so and so. These are the things that legal lawyers, policies, regulators need to come in and take active part of, to draft out for these organizations. Otherwise, the organizations will be left to run amok, and people, will be the damage, what they call it, damage control, but they will be the guinea pigs in the whole process of these products coming to the market without these legal obligations being put at the forefront. So we are educating you guys now, so that as you guys go into the workforce and different places, you know the stance to bring about. So that's it. So well done to everybody for the presentations. I think it was a job well done on all parts, and I hope that you're learning from the process, that JIIPCC has put together. I would just like to end by highlighting two things, which is aside from the presentation that you made. I think from everything that we've all learned, I think the first thing to take away is that we must embrace security and compliance by design. So as part of legal teams or researchers, whatever role it is that you're playing in tech, emerging technologies, you need to embrace this security and compliance by design. For instance, this duty of care that I was talking about, you have to have it in mind from the beginning. And security and compliance by design, you have to consider risk. I think risk has been mentioned more than 20 times on this call today. You consider the risk, and I took risk the last time as well. When you know the risk, then you are able to begin to design frameworks to mitigate that risk. And that helps you to educate the developers, that you are working with on these projects to, in their design and in their building, to have that mindset. So as they are coding, as they are designing, you are helping them frame what their obligations are. And when they know what their obligations are, they can then create frameworks around. So you find legal, many times as legal, and I'm on a team, I just ask a simple question. For instance, have you considered this? And everybody just pauses because they're like, no, we didn't consider that. And then we now, discuss, brainstorm on how to implement something to mitigate that risk in the process, and then they're able to build, so that helps developers and these technology personnel to be able to do that. So we can, for instance, data privacy now, you consider it in your design process at the very beginning. It spares you a lot of headaches at the end of the day. So that's the first takeaway, that you must make sure that security and compliance must be by design from the beginning of the project. And then the second thing is that you need to be able to collaborate with diverse teams. Gone are the days that you'll be in a team and possibly it's only Nigerians. If you are in emerging technologies, you are most likely going to be working with diverse teams in different places. So you need to learn other jurisdictional laws. I was very happy when you went into the slide of, talking about the EU AI Act and all that. You're going to have to be considering laws from other regulations. Before now, we used to have to deal with only Nigerian law. I mean, only lawyers that were dealing with maybe international trade, cross-border transactions. They were the ones that were going into maybe like African law or international laws. But now, if you're in emerging tech, you need to know what is happening in Europe. You need to know what is happening in Australia. You need to know what is happening in the islands. You need to have an idea of what is happening in the US, because these teams are coming from different places. It might even be the employment contracts, that you are drafting, or that you're, looking at. It might be IP that, something is coming from another country. You have to consider all of that. So as you are learning in this process, please consider that you're going to be working with diverse teams. You have to enhance your legal forte in different areas when it comes to regulation, so that you learn the laws that are relevant on a global scale to your project or to your team or whatever it is that you're working on. And I hope that that will be able to help you all as you go ahead, in all the things that you are doing. Lastly, I would like to focus on the fact that emerging technologies is very easy. Well, not very easy. I mean, easy to get into, right? Because it's online, it's accessible. You can learn. Data is everywhere. But those that are building within the ecosystem is those that focus on real world problems. It's not just, and that's why you see there's hype, there's fad, because things come and then they fade away. But for those who are building on the back end to solve real world problems, for instance, NFTs now, when NFTs were being used for art, it was a fad, it was everywhere. But those that are building NFTs for educational purposes, certificates, tokenization of real estate, then you are bringing it into real world problems and you are solving those real world problems. Okay, instead of one person to buy a whole building, you can tokenize that whole building, break it into like 1,000 parts, sell 1,000 tokens of that building, and then you have 1,000 owners of that building. Those are real world problems because maybe one person didn't have enough money to afford the whole building, but he can afford 1,000 cost of that particular building. So in building, you can also advise, like, be the person within the team who is looking at what is the real world problem that is being solved there. And that, will help us within all the ecosystems to ensure that the ecosystem advances really fast. So again, well done to everyone. Those are my contributions. I hope that I was able to help you guys in any way, shape, or form. And thank you so much once again, Gypsy.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Buki, for such a wonderful discussion that you have raised today in today's class, and also the address you gave to the presentation. We really sincerely do appreciate. Please, Ma, we'll be taking questions right now. So please, we would just like to have you for a few minutes to help us run through questions. So if you have any questions you would like to ask for the mentees, please, you can go ahead and ask your question. Can we have questions? We can take 2 or 3 questions in class. So please, if you have questions, okay. Mr. Emmanuel, you can go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much, Mrs. Buki, for the insightful session. I really learned a lot, and how you broke down the role of AI in DeFi platforms and in AR and VR, augmented realities and virtual realities. So I've gotten a better understanding of these emerging technologies, on these areas of emerging technologies. So my question now is that even when I was doing research or when we were doing research, we came across terms that we were not familiar with, especially under decentralized finance platforms. Came across terms such as arbitrage, HFT, high frequency trading, and um, also DeFi. Like, I know that DeFi works on blockchain, but I don't really know how it works in real world, like its applicability in real world. DeFi, when we're talking of DeFi, are we talking of Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies, or um, another area that this DeFi works in? So what's the real world usage of this DeFi? How do we see it? How do we use it? Probably we are using it and we don't know that this is actually the DeFi that we're in contact with. So I want to have a better understanding and grasp of these DeFi platforms and how it works in real world terms. Is it the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, stable coin, USDT that we all know and are hearing about? Or is there another technical term or technical usage of this DeFi and this platform? And what examples of or what are the examples of these DeFi platforms that probably we have come across in? Because I know a lot of my colleagues that deal in crypto exchange. So is their exchange, can we describe their exchange as DeFi platform? So I want to have better understanding on how this DeFi works, especially in these areas that I mentioned, and some of all these technical terms like um, arbitrage, high frequency trading, and how it works, how AI works in regulating. Because they also talked about if there is over reliance on AI in this DeFi platform, it may defeat the essence of the DeFi, which is to decentralize finance. So over reliance on AI will make it to be centralized and may conflict with the core essence of decentralization in DeFi platform. So I want to know how all this works, how we come across it in our day-to-day living. So as to not be like we're talking about abstract or theoretical uh, talks or theoretical ideals without knowing its practical usage. So that is my question and area of clarification. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right,
And
thank you so
also,
much.
ma,
Is
you
there
can also
any-
extend it to this AR and VR, because what my basic knowledge of VR is in those virtual games. So I want to know how we come across AR, especially AR. I know of VR, virtual reality, but AR, I don't really have much idea or knowledge of it and its practical usage in real world terms. So can also throw more light in the area of AR and VR as it relates to our practical usage, how we come across it in our day-to-day living, and how as lawyers in equity we can effectively apply our legal knowledge and skills in order to ensure that these areas are effectively regulated. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. I think I'll take the DeFi first. So what DeFi is it is decentralized finance, meaning that there's no central authority. The platforms are not guided by any one party. The users of the platform are basically their own custodians. I give an example. Bitcoin, if you own Bitcoin, you have your wallet address, you have your keys to the Bitcoin. So you are your own banker. There is no customer service coming to your rescue. You can't call customer service and say, excuse me, I have this issue. I was trying to transfer this to this person and it didn't go through. There's nothing like that. You are your own custodian. You custody your keys, you custody your funds. And so that's tokens or whatever it is. So basically no central authority. Now, when you see platforms like Binance, Luno, and the rest, they are centralized platforms. So that means they have a team that works behind the scenes to help you get your services across to you. They can also custody for you. So that in case, for instance, if you are using Binance and you misplace your password, you can easily reset. Well, you can reset for some decentralized platforms as well. But you still need the seed phrases anyway. But so they are able to custody for you, whereas DeFi is self-custody. So a Binance, for instance, you can change your password. Then the centralized platforms also have like KYC. They have certain other details about you, like your email address, your phone number, and the like, so that they can reach you in case of anything. If they will need you to reconfirm something, they can send you a code to your email. You enter in the code to confirm that it's you. So that's the difference between centralized platforms and DeFi platforms. So there's some controversy within the ecosystem that some platforms say that they are DeFi, but they are CeFi. And then TradFi obviously is the traditional banking systems, traditional finance. So everything that you can get in traditional finance, you can get in DeFi. For instance, you can take loans. There's loan services. There's you can any kind of services. You can do stock brokerage. You can put in your funds in a pool and make money off of that funds, like staking and the like in DeFi world. So there are decentralized versions of traditional finance services, and people are innovating, in so many areas for DeFi. So that's what DeFi is. So examples of DeFi platforms are like Uniswap, where you don't know who the people, there's MakerDAO.
Hello, I can't hear you again. Hello?
I'm back. So sorry, I got cut off. So the DeFi platforms are just platforms that work with custody in the hands of the user, as opposed to CeFi, where there's custody, organizational custody for individuals, and there's central parties, that govern what happens on the platforms. So for you to understand this more, you can check out like Telegram groups or Discord groups of DeFi platforms. You can also, a number of the exchanges have academies where you can read more about DeFi.
Hello, Ma. Sorry, your network is a little bit bad. It's kind of breaking, so I don't know if you're still hearing us now. Okay, I think Mrs. Buki is having some network challenge. I'm sure once she's able to sort that out, she will be back with us to just help run through the questions. So, okay. So before she comes back, right, I would just want us to take pictures. All right, so please, can we take pictures now before she joins back in on the call? Right, can we take pictures quickly? Right, so please, if you can kindly turn on your video so that we can take pictures quickly. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Richard. Thank you, Becca. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name very well.
Sorry, I don't know why it keeps cutting me off. It was pretty steady all the time. I think I'm back.
Yes, Ma. Thank you, Ma, for coming back on.
Yeah, so I was saying, and then he asked about real world cases. I think I've given examples of that. That there's Uniswap. There are platforms where you can stake your funds. Staking funds means, for instance, you have 100 USDT in your account. You're not using it for anything, right? So you go to a staking platform, you add your 100 USDT to the pool, and then the organization or DAO or whatever platform uses that fund for something else. They can use it for loans, and then they make money off of that 100 USDT, and then they give you a cut on whatever it is that they make. So maybe on the 100 USDT, when they loaned it to somebody, they made 30 USDT on it. They can give you maybe 15 or 10 USDT. So while your money is laying there, is working for you, and the money comes back and is 115 instead of 100, and it keeps growing like that. So 100 USDT that you kept there, within 2 years can become 215 USDT because it's working for you, something like that. So those are real world use cases where people have their funds, instead of having the funds just lay there doing nothing. The money can actually be earning for you and doubling or at least increasing in the amount. So that's just an example of what they do on some certain DeFi platforms, and staking as an example of a real world use case of what these platforms are doing. Then when it talks about AI and centralization, the whole idea of having a DeFi platform is that no central authority controls the entire system. But then, like we see with the introduction of an AI system, all of that information is going into a particular pool, and that AI system is the one that is controlling everything that is happening. So then it kind of defeats the whole purpose. That was what I was trying to explain. And so in using DeFi and AI together, it must be done in a way that the AI itself is decentralized. Because if you are using centralized AI with DeFi, you are bringing that platform back into the centralization pool. So you have to design it in such a way, which was why I was saying at the beginning when designing these platforms, although DeFi in itself, some have what they call, like I said, DAOs that control and govern. But by the time you introduce AI into that, you have to do it systematically in a way that the AI itself works in a decentralized manner. That's the whole idea of what we're saying. And then he touched on AR and VR. So the practical use case of AR is augmented reality is when you wear a headset, for instance, and then digital elements are overlaid on your reality. So you can sit down the example I always give is you sit down in a room, the room is empty, but you have options of retail, and then maybe you can click on different furniture and then put the furniture in the space. So the furniture is not really there, right? But you can click on the furniture and project it into the room. So it's mostly the likes of IKEA, retailers that use AR. So for instance, IKEA would take you into a blank room. They would wear AR headsets for you. You can pick from their catalog of different furniture and maybe insert a picture of your room or the dimensions of your room, to create the dimensions of your room at home. And then you can place the bedroom sets in the room and see how it would look. So that helps you to make your choice in, this one looks nice. I don't like this color. It doesn't look nice. Okay, this one I think will fit my room. My window is at this side. Maybe it would be better if the bed is at this side. So it just helps you make that choice. And then you can click on the furniture set that you like that fits into your home, and then you purchase it and they deliver it to your address. So that's like a real world example of AR. Another one is for some stores, you can go into the store, and when you put the AR headset on, once you hold an item, it can list out maybe like the ingredients in the item, what you can use the items for. If it's clothes, it can tell you, like if you hold it right in front of you, it can tell you like this one is 80% polyester, 10% cotton, 10% linen. It will highlight all those details for you that ordinarily, if you were walking through the retail store, is not something that it's not information that would have been right available to you. So for stores as well, like maybe like stores that have food items, it can list all the food items. It can show you what the food is like being prepared. So it's overlaying those things on your reality. You can see those items, but if you put your hand there, obviously there's nothing there. It's just projecting it on your real environment. While VR is the other way around. So VR would be you being transported into a space and you feel like you are there, but you are not physically there. It's just your environment that is just different. And real world cases for this, my best example is for the oil companies where, you want to show a board of directors a pipeline that was bust or something. And then you ask them to wear the VR headset and they are transported to, where the pipeline is. You're able to show them that this is the pipeline, or this was where they damaged. This was how it got caught. Because you can't ideally fly the board to that scenario. It would be probably dangerous, but they can actually feel like they're there all at the same time, commenting, okay, why don't we do this? They're brainstorming, why can't we? Can the pipe go this way? So they are making all these decisions on the board level by not exactly visiting the place. Construction companies do this as well. okay, we've created a digital twin of the building. This is how the building will look. When you walk into the building, you go upstairs. So you feel like you are, viewing the environment and you are there, but you are not physically there. So it gives them that information that they need. They can see maybe how tall the ceiling is. Okay, look up. This is how tall. We wanted to see if maybe the ceiling should be shorter or the ceiling should be taller, and it helps them to be able to make those decisions. So for like legal and for boards, and the like, those are kind of real world examples. You can imagine the vast other kind of examples that we can give of real world use cases, but that's just an example of practical usage, and of how AR and VR is being used. I think I answered all the questions. I hope so. I think that's it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. This has given me much better understanding. Thank you so much. I understand it better now.
All right, anytime.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma, for helping out with the question. I think we can take one more question. All right. If we still have room for one more question, if Ms. Buki doesn't mind. Please, if you have one question, if you have a question to ask, okay. We'll be taking questions from Pearl. Please, Pearl, you can go ahead, unmute, ask your question.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Ma, for such an insightful session. So my question is, how can AR/VR developers ensure that AI-driven experiences are respectful and inclusive of diverse user perspectives?
Diverse users' perspectives for AR and VR. Again, I think we always start from when building systems, there's something we call user scenarios. And we use that for developers a lot to try and project the kind of people that will be using the platform. So I give an example. Let's say, for instance, these cross-border payments that we were doing for PAPs, which is, you being able to use a marketplace to get payments across borders. So you can be in Nigeria, and then you pay in Naira, but your vendor is in Ghana, and then the vendor receives CDs, but you paid in Naira here. Ideally, in that kind of situation, you would have had to go through several days of changing currency and the like and all that to make it more inconvenient. So what we had to do was ask product manager and the developers to work on different user scenarios. So we would say, for instance, I'm an old woman in Senegal, and I'm selling granuts, and I want to get cups or nylons or something from, say, Gambia to package my products, and I want to use the platform. How am I going to be able to do that? And then we walk through the scenarios, because we understand that a young person using a platform is very different from an old person using the platform. An old person may consider things like distance, time, all those kind of things, that a young, or maybe be more comfortable with time, whereas a younger person may be more on the beat, want something faster. So that's what we normally do. We create we can't create all the scenarios, but we try as possible to brainstorm on all the possible scenarios. I give another example. We were trying to create a platform for Nigerian users, and we had to consider, okay, have we considered a white person who just wants to experience Africa on that platform? So we had to do that user scenario for the white person who is coming into the country, just wants to experience Africa because he's heard about, wants to be close to nature, wants to be, So we always highlight all these user scenarios, and that helps us to be able to go through the workflow that has been built and say, okay, this workflow that has been built, have we considered this person and the considerations that that person will be using when using this platform? So I think those user scenarios really do help. Those are building, and of course, with legal being there, we're able to. I think legal people just have a general knack for being able to, just think of scenarios. A legal person will think of the worst case scenario in something and say, what if this one will happen? What if that happens? So we have that kind of sixth sense. So that helps with the user scenarios. I think that's something that can work for people who are building and for legal personnel, researchers, and the like who are on such projects to be able to create as many user scenarios as possible, and then now make sure that that system has been built, appropriately, considering these diverse kind of people coming from different backgrounds that might be using that system. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss. Thank you so much, Miss Buki, for thank you so much, Miss Buki, for helping us answer our two questions. We sincerely do appreciate. To everyone who has stayed to the end of class, we appreciate your time and effort. To both groups that made presentation in class, well done to you for your contributions and your efforts. So with that, we've come to the end of today's topic, or to the end of today's class. I really hope that we have been able to cover some of what we discussed. Like, you have been able to learn from some of what we discussed, including in your research, and everything that was presented, with everything the mentors highlighted, and even the questions that were asked and answered. You can always revisit the class to get further, to always just have that knowledge at the back of your mind. The YouTube link has been posted in your group, so you can, like I said, you can revisit the class. Please do not forget to fill in your attendance. Do not forget to fill in your attendance and also share what you have learned on your different social media platforms. We'll be moving on to week 4 next week, right? And the tasks for the week, including what you are supposed to do, will be sent to you, I think, by tomorrow morning, right? So please, let's watch out for that. Thank you, everyone, and please do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, Ms. Buki, also for your time, and to also Mr. Ridwan in absentia. All right, it's goodbye, everyone, and take care.